A surprise from beneath the waves. A Chinese submarine surfaces near fissures off the Penghu Islands.
Coastal defense is a major part of the country's defense strategy. But why is the military spending so much to defend this beach? We find out why.
TSMC halts construction on its new plant after a surprising archaeological find. Plus, a headdress for the heavens. Meet the father-son team crafting crowns for the gods. Hello and welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao. Thank you for joining us. Images have emerged of what appears to be a Chinese nuclear submarine surfacing close to one of Taiwan's outlying islands. The incident happened early on Tuesday morning with the images taken by fishers working nearby. Reese Ayers has been following this story for us from Taipei. Reese, what do we know about these Chinese subs and why are they so close to Taiwan?
Well, Leslie, while we can't really know for sure, reports from the fishers from Penghu, who actually took some photographs of the submarine as it emerged from the water, and analysis of the situation indicate that the Chinese submarine may have been forced up due to some issues with the vessel. After surfacing, it was quickly accompanied by several Chinese warships who then escorted it back toward China, with the submarine still on the surface, which is further evidence that it may have had some problems. Taiwanese fishers say it's not uncommon for them to encounter Chinese military vessels whilst out catching fish, but a submarine is definitely something to write home about. Now, Defense Minister Wellington Koo has said that Taiwan is on top of the situation in terms of intelligence and surveillance, but refused to say any more about any investigation, though he did call for restraint on both sides. Here's what he said.
那所以我们要时刻的警觉，但是我们也要不要惊慌啊，所以不要惊慌，也不要麻木不仁。这件事情的态度我们是很赞成的，我们一定要这一个冷静、理性的来妥适的应处这样子台海的这个情势。我们不作为挑衅的一方，但我们也呼吁中国不要成为麻烦的制造者。
Now, the waters in the Taiwan Strait are particularly shallow, which actually makes them quite appropriate for testing submarines. If there's any kind of emergency situation, the sub can resurface relatively quickly. And people analyzing the photos of the submarine seem pretty sure that it's one of China's newest and most advanced nuclear submarines, capable apparently of launching over a dozen missiles and also notoriously hard to detect. But whatever the reason for the incident this morning, it's a reminder for us here in Taiwan of the constant Chinese military presence around the island.
Thank you, Reese. That was Reese Ayers reporting on the Chinese sub spotted near Penghu. Taiwan is wrapping up live-fire military exercises along the western coast of New Taipei. It's part of efforts to make the country's training as realistic as possible, but as Jaime Okan reports, there are concerns that many of its drills are too scripted.
One by one, Taiwanese soldiers practice their shooting. They're trying to step up their training in a rare chance for them to use live ammunition on this public beach. Exercises like these are becoming more common due to pressure from neighboring China, which has threatened to invade Taiwan to bring it under its control. So Taiwan has now narrowed down potential areas where an attack could begin. This area is known as the Red Beach. That means Taiwan's military considers it a likely spot for China to land troops and begin an invasion. That's why the military is making sure it knows how to defend this coastline. This beach, known as Zhongfu Beach, is crucial for Taiwan's defense due to its proximity to the country's largest airport. The beach also sits between a major wind farm and one of Taiwan's largest ports. But what makes this area even more strategic is that it's only 20 kilometers away from the capital city of Taipei.
They want to land in the north so that they can rapidly attack and capture the capital. The problem is that, of course, the Taiwanese know that also and have a lot of their forces up in the north. So it is important to be able to hold the north so that if the Chinese are going to land, they'll land in the south, and that's a much more difficult campaign.
But as an island country, Taiwan's shores are on the front line. Just last week, a man from China arrived on Taiwan shores via speedboat, an event likely to increase scrutiny over the military's coastal defense strategy. Taiwan has recently taken training into public places like these to get troops familiar with how a potential war could be fought. But military analysts say the drills are not realistic enough.
Live fire on the actual beach is better, certainly, than shooting on a range. But still, if we're talking realistic and rigorous, we're talking about combat conditions. And I will simply tell you, under modern conditions of warfare, you do not want your troops laid out in a big line in a big open space like a beach, because they're just a natural target.
This lack of realistic training is concerning many analysts in the U.S. who say Taiwan's military exercises are too scripted. One example is a decades-old exercise in which a team in red practices invading the port of Taipei, while a team in blue defends. But the problem here is that the blue team seems to always win.
The big exercises always seem to go back to red team, blue team, and red team is clearly following a script that blue team already has in advance, and that is just a very bad way to train your leaders to make decisions. You need to combine that very scripted training with also training which is not live fire, where you are allowing your leaders to make decisions and to respond to a thinking enemy that isn't just operating on a script.
Yet Taiwan's military is starting to incorporate more realistic training across the armed forces, and these live fire drills are just a small part of it. Taiwan's military says the upcoming large-scale Hanguang exercises in July will have an unscripted element, a move in the right direction when facing such an unpredictable enemy. Annie Shui and Jaime Ocon in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
A Taipei court has agreed that a Chinese man who illegally entered the country be held incommunicado. He breached Taiwan's borders on a speedboat landing at the Danshui River, which serves as a gateway to the capital Taipei. Authorities say the man, surnamed Ran, could be a flight risk or might try to destroy evidence. He is being investigated on suspicion of violating the immigration rules and laws governing cross-strait affairs. Ran has said he wants to defect to Taiwan, but Coast Guard officials say he used to be a Chinese naval officer. Russian President Vladimir Putin has promised to build trade and security ties with North Korea ahead of his visit to Pyongyang. Putin's comments were published in North Korea's state media. He also thanked North Korea for supporting Russia in its war in Ukraine. Putin will meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during his two-day visit, his first to Pyongyang in 24 years. It's the latest sign of deepening ties between the two nuclear-armed states, both marginalized by much of the international community. At least 9 people have died after torrential rainfall triggered flooding and landslides across southern China. Local officials say 17 others are still missing in Guangdong and Fujian provinces. Days of severe downpours have also caused power outages and crop damage. Eyewitness footage shows collapsed buildings and swollen rivers. Local authorities say rescue teams are searching for survivors and delivering aid to impacted areas. Chip-making giant TSMC has halted construction of a new plant in southern Taiwan after cultural relics were found at the site. The project was set to house 2 advanced packaging plants to help supply cutting-edge AI chips. Joyce Tseng has more.
A standstill at global chip giant TSMC's new site in Jiayi County after historical artifacts were found in the ground, with more believed to be underneath.
我们已经邀请了文化资产的委员进行现场的勘查，也开了审议会。那委员呢，原则上呢同意呢抢救挖掘。
TSMC had just broken ground in May for its first of 2 plants here, on the grounds of an old sugar farm. The site will expand an already large local footprint for TSMC across Taiwan, as it quickly grows to keep its edge as the maker of almost all the world's most advanced chips.
每天差不多6点就开始赶工，有时候做到晚上差不多9点至10点这样。
Despite also growing its business in Japan, the US, and Germany, the firm is keeping its most advanced tech in Taiwan. The Jiayi site is set to house its cutting-edge 3D packaging technology called chip on wafer on substrate, or CoWoS for short. It essentially allows multiple chips, which used to sit on their own substrates, to be stacked onto one single package, cutting down on space and on power. It's a game changer for more complicated, more powerful chips, like those made by global AI chip leaders NVIDIA and AMD, that both use CoWoS tech. There's already a shortage of TSMC's CoWoS capacity, which is expected to last until 2025. With a temporary pause on Plant 1 because of the relics, TSMC could jumpstart building Plant 2 to meet the high demand.
目前因应这个状况呢，台积电它调整工序，就把 P2 厂同步启动建厂。那目前南科管理局全力来协助他们相关的申请。
With work on the first plant paused until all relics are cleared, the Bureau says starting Plant 2 early could help TSMC's overall plan stay on track, a clear sign that Taiwan is doing its best to keep up with high-tech demand, but not at the cost of preserving precious history. Devin Tai and Joyce Sun for TaiwanPlus.
Ceremonial crowns for deities are a traditional Taiwanese art form, one that's faced stiff competition from China. Louise Watt reports on how the craft has also become a central part of one father and son duo's personal journey.
那烧完之后，我们会经过浸泡，那浸泡完再清洗。
Tai Songshan is cleaning part of a silver crown to be laid on the head of a temple god. It's an annual ritual that involves using a blowtorch to get rid of dirt and ash. Once cleaned, it turns back into this, a headdress for the main deity of a temple in Pingdong County in Taiwan's south.
这一顶帽子的话，它除了尺寸比较大之外，它也是整顶都是纯银制作，这样子。那比较特殊的就是它上面，因为它尺寸比较大，为了展现它的气势啊，所以在一开始制作的时候，我们就是以五只龙的样式下去制作。
These crowns are a traditional Taiwanese art form, made by heating silver sheets until they're soft enough to strike patterns into them. Sai has learnt the craft from his father, Gui Ming, who's been in the business for half a century.
会使讲是投入全部的精神甲青春生命安尼吼。
Sai Gui Ming built his reputation in the 1980s. When lottery winners often ordered ceremonial crowns to thank the gods. But the industry has faced competition from China since the turn of the century.
台湾遮就有个人就走过伫大陆做安尼，伫遐经营。啊，伊为遐做全规个个啊吼，哇，迄足严重的，嘿，就伊个个拢算破规个对啊啦。
Sai struggled. But his loyal customer base has helped him through the hardest times. And now his son has joined him. He's hoping to master his father's trade and to help secure the future of this distinctly Taiwanese religious and cultural craft. Klein Wong and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
We're going to take a quick break, but stick with us here on TaiwanPlus News because coming up, meet the Japanese senior citizen giving Silicon Valley a run for its money.
Start your weekend with a cup of coffee and a moment to reflect on what happened this week.
Hello and welcome.
We've got you covered, from defense and politics to high tech and the arts.
Not just to Taiwan, the whole world is watching.
You make the coffee,
we make the news.
Here's what happened on TaiwanPlus.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, follow TaiwanPlus on social media.
Explore the vibrant world of Taiwanese factories. where skilled craftsmen and their expert hands have shaped industries. Join us in celebrating the artisan spirit and relentless pursuit of excellence. Viva la Vita, every Thursday at 7 p.m. on TaiwanPlus.
Hello and welcome to Taiwan Talks. I'm Incavat. Today we examine China's engagement with Africa.
So, unfortunately, this very aggressive form of cultural revolution-like politics in China seems to be moving forward in this modern era.
This grave injustice is happening.
The issue is, what can the U.S. do to help strengthen Taiwan?
We need that kind of mindset to prepare for the warfare.
What implications does this have on Taiwan and the region as a whole?
Just like Ukraine right now, you need people to understand we're doing this for our own country.
Reaffirmed our support for the Taiwanese ability to make their own decisions about their own future.
It's very hard to duplicate in the short time. Taiwan still can continue being the leading position if we put efforts on R&D.
And you are riding on a wave. This is exactly the time you need to double down.
Or I did not realize I am actually running to be the first Asian woman in the state senate. Our next generation, they can see Asian American is as equal and have the same platform.
Taiwan Talks provides a platform for the voices and perspectives that are shaping our country.
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. A spate of police suicides has officials promising more mental health resources for officers. But discussing mental health is still taboo in the force, meaning it's difficult for some officers to get the help they need. John Van Trieste has this report.
There's an uneasy reckoning going on in the law enforcement world. So far this year, 8 members of Taiwan's police force have died by suicide, most recently the deputy chief of this station in northern Taiwan, who took his life on Sunday. And this isn't terribly unusual. The past 4 years have seen 22 police suicides. After this latest death, officials have promised things are going to change.
除了我们自己本身的关怀机制以外，就是要委外的心理咨商师，把这个预算有增加，明年会再增加这预算，会来增加这些覆盖率，就是让他们心理上没有一些负担。
Exactly how much will be spent and when the money will come is unclear. And cash may not solve everything. This is a profession where seeking help can have consequences. Peer counselors are colleagues, and besides worries about their qualifications, there are also fears about how open people can be with them.
担心会被贴上标签，而且不能够保密，而且关老师是由员警监办，造成他们求助意愿可能会降低，因此很难发挥功能。
And even when professional therapists are available, officers who see them can expect doubts over their ability to handle a gun and face other career setbacks.
如果你今天有这样一个记录的话，会影响到你的考核，升迁也会影响嘛。如果像我问过那些比较高阶的，他说当然也会考量一下。
Meaning a difficult cultural shift may also be needed to get help to those who need it before it's too late. Patrick Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
The Thai parliament has passed a bill legalizing same-sex marriage, making Thailand the first Southeast Asian nation to recognize marriage equality. Rosie Greninger reports.
Celebrations erupt in Bangkok's Senate after lawmakers passed a bill to legalize same-sex marriage in Thailand. The landmark decision paves the way for Thailand to become the first Southeast Asian country to recognize equal marriage rights, and the third country in Asia after Taiwan and Nepal. After living without access to the basic rights and security that heterosexual couples enjoy, lesbian couple Vorowan and Anticha say this is a day-long overdue.
ถ้ามันมีกฎหมายเนี่ยการได้จรดปากกาลงไปในใบที่แสดงว่าเราสามารถดูแลกันและกันได้อะมันอาจจะทำให้ชีวิตของเรารู้สึกมั่นคงปลอดภัยมากยิ่งขึ้นและนั่นคือสิ่งที่เราไม่เคยมีมาก่อนเลย
The bill passed the upper house in a landslide after the lower house previously cleared the bill in a near-unanimous vote. The new laws will give same-sex couples in Thailand rights on adoption, inheritance and tax allowances. References to men, women, husbands and wives will also be changed to gender-neutral terms. The bill had overwhelming public support. But some activists have criticised the new laws for failing to recognise transgender people and people with non-binary gender identities. Speaking at Bangkok's Pride Parade earlier this month, the country's Prime Minister was already confident the bill would pass.
เดือนแห่งการเฉลิมฉลองสิทธิเสรีภาพของความเสมอภาคเท่าเทียมสิทธิเสรีภาพในการที่จะมีโอกาสได้เลือกนะครับก็ถือว่าเดือนมิถุนายนนี้เราจะมีการเฉลิมฉลองครั้งใหญ่ทั้งเดือนนะครับวันนี้ก็ถือว่าเป็นการจุดเริ่มต้นที่ดีใน
The Prime Minister is set to open his official residence to the LGBTQ+ community and supporters to celebrate, before a parade marches from Government House to Bangkok's central business district. The legislation will now be sent to the Cabinet for approval before it goes to the King for royal assent, something that's seen as a mere formality. The new laws will come into force 120 days after publication in the official Royal Gazette. And activists hope the first same-sex weddings can be celebrated as early as October. And Teacher and Vora One say they will tie the knot as soon as possible.
พอกฎหมายออกเราก็จะไปจดทะเบียนกันค่ะเพราะว่าเราก็รอคอยมานานเนาะว่าเวลาที่ได้รับการรับรองหรือว่าการมองเห็นอย่างเป็นทางการนะมันมีพลังนะ
As well as being a landmark in equal rights legislation, many people believe the decision will drive up the economy, with many same-sex couples set to wed. The move could also attract more LGBTQ people to the country, and Thai activists hope it will encourage other countries in the region to follow their lead. Alex Chen and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Thailand's former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been charged for allegedly insulting the country's royal family. Prosecutors say that Thaksin broke laws prohibiting the defamation of the Thai monarchy in a 2015 interview. Thaksin, who was ousted in a 2006 coup, returned to Thailand last summer after 15 years in self-imposed exile. When he arrived in Bangkok, he was jailed on separate charges but received a royal pardon. Thaksin has since been granted bail and is awaiting trial in August. The Philippines Health Department is seeking an investigation into an alleged U.S. campaign to discredit Chinese vaccines during the COVID-19 pandemic. Reuters reported that the campaign aimed to counter Chinese influence in the Philippines. Hundreds of fake social media accounts were used to create distrust of China's Sinovac vaccines, masks, and other protective equipment. The campaign was launched in 2020 and continued until mid-2021. It spread beyond the Philippines to the rest of Southeast Asia and to the Middle East, where it falsely claimed that the vaccines were not halal. China's foreign ministry has condemned the operation, while the White House and Pentagon have yet to respond. South Korea's military says a group of North Korean soldiers crossed the line that divides the two countries. The group of 20 to 30 troops moved back north after the South's forces fired warning shots. Seoul says the breach was likely unintentional, but they're keeping a close watch on activities along the border. In the past few weeks, North Korean soldiers have been seen clearing land, installing barriers, and planting landmines. This is the second time in a week that North Korean soldiers have crossed the border. Today's incident happened as a delegation led by Russian President Vladimir Putin visits Pyongyang for the first time in 24 years. An 89-year-old man in Japan has developed nearly a dozen free apps to help his fellow senior citizens. He only started learning how to code in retirement, proving that it's never too late to pick up a new skill. Joyce Sun has more.
A check to see you've got everything you need, thanks to an app built by 89-year-old coder Suzuki Tomichi. He created the app after realizing he often forgot things, a common problem, he says, among older people. That's when Suzuki turned to computing, a hobby he took up after retiring, and he's been building other apps to make the lives of his fellow senior citizens easier.
アプリでも私が作るアプリを若い人に依頼したらまずは使えないアプリが返ってくると思っております。それはこういうニーズがある、それからお客様っていうかシニアはこんなことを期待してるんだっていうのは若い人がいくら勉強してもねそれは分からんと思うんですよ。 ですからそういう意味でシニアはシニアなりにね役割があるなと思っております。
Suzuki's now built 11 free apps for seniors, from personal item reminders to a bathroom trip tracker. Japan has been reckoning with a rapidly aging society for years, with the country's birth rate recently plummeting to another new low. It's adding to fears that there won't be enough younger people or resources to support senior citizens. Thanks to technology and tools like Suzuki's apps, older folks now have options to help look out for themselves.
あいうべ体操っていうのがあるんですけど、これもね、私もうやり方はもう覚えているので、お風呂で湯船に使ってたりしてやってるんですね。
With the rise of generative AI, Suzuki says he's even gotten a boost in his coding skills. He can now ask AI chatbots questions when he gets stuck. And encouraging other seniors to give new tech a try motivates Suzuki to be an example that it's never too late to learn. Chris Ma and Joyce Tsen for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally, check out some scenes from this Pride Parade in Warsaw, Poland. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.